Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the Scoreboard. I'm your host, Ahmed Nawaz, with the latest roundup of sports tonight. Pakistan is all set for their campaign against England, and they will be playing a practice match which has now been confirmed, which becomes a very, very necessary last bit of practice that Pakistan gets before the series starts on the 19th of August from the first test match of the three-match series at Leeds. Now, reports tell us that because it's been a very, very hot and a record hot summer in Europe, especially in England as well, the Leeds pitch is probably tipped to behave very differently than in what it traditionally does. So that means there will be runs on offer. Now, that opens up the debate whether Pakistan should then be going with just three seamers, or will they still need another additional fourth seamer in the probably name of Amir Jamal. But then Sajid's performance and then Ali Usman's performance as well leave out a big question of who will be dropped from this side as well. So of course we talk about that in detail, and then of course await PCB's final report of their medical panel of who will be fit for the series or not. Then of course we move on to the Champions Cup that has begun. Pakistan Greens of course chased a 277 run target. Naseem Shah took 3 wickets. 4 teams are competing in this cup in Multan, and although it's been a very different sort of a format in which we've got 4 teams playing a round robin system in just a 7 days tournament, but looks like that they're focusing on some key players for the upcoming ODI World Cup. But how much practice will they get on these dry conditions is certainly a question that we leave for the experts. Then of course we move on to Afghanistan's tour of Ireland, where they lead the 5-match ODI series 2-0 and book a 2027 World Cup spot in the World Cup. Can Ireland of course fight back and level the series will remain a question, but Afghanistan is now all geared for the 2027 Men's ODI World Cup to be played in Zimbabwe, Namibia and of course South Africa. Then we move on and we talk about Australia that are all set and geared up for their series against Bangladesh, but there's been sort of a stir and a frenzy now regarding the age and the almost the level of seniority of this Australian squad, with their average age now under question. Only one player in this entire squad which is under 30, and that is also 27 years of age. Other than that, every player are either in their mid-30s or late 30s, which opens a question of the experience Australia carries, but also the age factor and investment in the future as well. And then of course we move on and tell you about the Hockey World Cup 2026, where Pakistan hockey team has begun its preparations. They've lined up with Korea, Russia tours as well. The PHF is planning international exposure, but the fact is that Pakistan's group comprises of India, Wales and England, in which Pakistan should be considered one of the favorites to qualify. So of course we update you on that as well. Time now to discuss things in detail. Joining us in studios is our fellow anchor and sports expert, Syed Mohammad OWAIS. Assalamu alaikum, good evening.
Walaikum salam. How are you, Ahmed?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. Also joining us is our correspondent and our sports expert, BRASHNA. Assalamu alaikum, BK. Welcome to the Scoreboard. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. BK, are you also excited for the England series? Because Test cricket in England is always very, very interesting to watch.
Oh, definitely. I feel like it's been so long that Pakistan last played in the English conditions that we all are looking forward to the series. You know, it's not, we rarely get to see Pakistan play quality test cricket against quality oppositions, although England have been struggling a lot lately, but I think it's still, you know, going to be one of the really looking forward to that great series against, you know, England, because it's always a great competition between these two sides. Pakistan has also, you know, given good competition to England at their home previously too. So I feel like very excited, especially now that the both teams have, you know, made such major changes coming into the series. So it will be exciting to see how these teams transition into the changes and, you know, how they come up with their plans and execute their plans.
Well, certainly, Pakistan still awaits the final report of the medical panel. So, although SHAN MASOOD himself on his own digital media accounts did mention that his rehab is going smoothly, he also thanked the team that was involved with him as well. So, looks like that he's very hopeful for a comeback. And how much would that be important for Pakistan, considering that 2 players that stand out with a lot of experience in England are SHAN MASOOD and Mohammad Abbas?
I feel very vital because SHAN, the way he performed in the West Indies series, I feel it would be a huge loss for Pakistan if he doesn't, you know, recover by the time of the first test. SHAN previously is also has always been comfortable, you know, when he's playing in English conditions. So I feel like it will be a great news for Pakistan if SHAN recovers, because we saw what he did in the West Indies tour. You know, he was the only man standing fighting in the first test. So I really hope that he makes a comeback, and I feel that just would strengthen Pakistan's top order so much more, especially now with Abdullah Shafiq also performing, and I feel like he also has a good record in England. I think he has 2 centuries there, so it will against England, not there. So I feel it will be interesting to see, if SHAN recovers, it will definitely strengthen Pakistan's top order.
Well, certainly. And then, of course, I think that question does come to the 2 weak links right now in the names of Mohammad Rizwan and Salman Ali Agha, because batting is a huge expectation and England conditions have traditionally changed now. So there are a lot of runs on offer.
That is Pakistan's biggest weakness, like you pointed out, because I feel it's been a while now that both Salman Ali Agha and Rizwan are not putting on any effort, putting on any scores, because Pakistan's middle order has been so consistently, has failed so consistently lately that you want it to work out. Babar alone cannot take the entire pressure. You need someone, on the other hand, supporting him as well. So I really hope that, Salman Ali Agha, because I feel like he's done so well for Pakistan in the white ball format, it's really, saddening to see him struggle in the longer format. But I just hope that, both him or Rizwan, they're able to, recover from whatever it is that is stopping them to score runs. I feel they definitely need that discipline back in their batting, because you cannot survive or you cannot make those mistakes, especially in English conditions, where I think it's going to be far more challenging. The conditions are far more challenging, so you need more patience, you need more discipline in your batting. And I feel like both Salman Ali Agha and Rizwan, they are players of great caliber. They have that in them. It's just a matter of them finding that quality again. So I hope they do. If not, we have South Sheffield as well. So Pakistan could, experiment with some changes, and it could benefit them as well. So fingers crossed.
Well, fingers crossed indeed, Brashna. But I think we really must try to figure out that victory against the West Indies and leveling the series, how much could it mentally help this team? Because obviously they were under a new captain. They're trying to almost restart their test, overall outlook. We've seen some pictures of the team training as well. They've had some personal time to themselves in England as well, with some pictures coming out. How would you rate them? What would you analyze as far as the visual optics go for this team, of how comfortable they are and how confident they will be, carrying that confidence from the West Indies?
Very important, because the win is all that they needed at that time. And I feel it has boosted the morale of the team, obviously, because they've had this win after 3 years. They had not beaten, and they've not had an overseas win in such a long time. So they couldn't have asked for a better match result going into the England tour. That said, like I said, the conditions in England are definitely going to be different. So in West Indies, Pakistan did get lucky that they got a slow wicket. They had the conditions well, and spin did the trick for them. But that's not going to be the case in England. We know that it's like seam-friendly conditions, and the batters have to work on their technique, dealing with the seam movement, and overall playing their game outside the off stump, and a lot of many stuff like that. So I just feel like the team, the batters, it's a bigger challenge for them. They need patience, which they're not really known for. So while the win is the best they could have hoped for going into the series, I hope they're able to carry that momentum and stay patient and be able to open to challenges and open to changes, because just what worked for them in that second test against West Indies is not mean that they go with the same playing 11, because you have to again be open and read the conditions well again in whatever ground or place you're playing. So I think that is the biggest challenge for Pakistan team, to be able to have that flexibility in them. Luckily, I feel like England is struggling.
England is struggling, but I think I feel for Joe Root, because Pakistan is on their doorstep. With Pakistan being unpredictable, Root would be thinking, I don't know where this series is going to go. But I'm going to come back to you, Brashna, coming to studios. AWAIS, we all know the importance of this series, but right now, any reports do you have regarding certain injuries that surround Pakistan, including SHAN, MASOOD and Saud Shakil?
I mean, the latest update about SHAN was that he's back into the nets. I mean, he was just practicing the throwdown deliveries. Obviously, the CT scans still haven't, I mean, there's not an official statement with the Pakistan Cricket Board, but back end, I mean, there was a news that Kamran Ghulam has been given a green signal that you need to be ready even at the 11th hour, you might be called to the England series. So, I mean, if you talk about the England, like we have been discussing from quite long, that I know it's a different team. It's not that baseball team what England was known for. The whole dugout is changed now. The captain is changed. The coaching staff is changed. So there's no baseball mindset now. Because for me, baseball has actually ruined many careers, especially for the youngsters coming up, because they were never easy to match that baseball stuff what McCullum and the company wanted, the speed of that, I would say, baseball stuff.
But it will be very difficult, OWAIS, to then, for someone, let's take one case study, for someone like Harry Brook to now change his technique, because he's not provided runs for England in that middle order because of his aggressive approach.
I mean, see, he's a senior player now. I mean, he's not that youngster what we know about Harry Brook. I mean, I know he's the guy who changes the momentum of any team. I mean, whenever you need, even the T20s, I would say he's the man to go on. I mean, for every ball, even Test cricket, you see him playing aggressive in the middle order. That has actually helped England, even has gone against the England tradition, I would say. But the biggest concern for me was regarding the openers of England, because they have changed around 7 to 9 pairs of opening department. I mean, chops and changes, because they were not able to match that baseball stuff what England wanted. Right now, if you talk about the English batting lineup, especially the opening department, Ben Duckett, I mean, they look more comfortable because they have been scoring runs. Even Gay has been scoring quite runs. Talk about Root, I mean, he's one of the guys in the middle order who could play a vital role for them. But you rightly pointed up, you never know about Pakistan, what they come up to, because listening Nasir Hussain in the commentary, 1 minute Pakistan up and 1 minute down, that's what Pakistan team is.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because batting's not the only concern for England. A lot of cricket experts, even English experts as well, have called their bowling lineup to be very weak, and they've made comments that this bowling lineup doesn't have the ability to take 20 wickets.
They don't have ability to take wickets against Australia, but never know about us. And on a lighter note, but I mean, see,
if we win, we win by 10 wickets. Otherwise, we don't.
It is, I mean, see, we play first match in Leeds, I mean, that's to the northern area. And when you talk about Leeds, when you talk about especially, like I said, Lancashire, I would say, you have got that nip in the wicket because the grass a little bit stays lively over there. I know it has been quite humid, quite hot over there back in England, but still there would be something for the fast bowlers. But when you travel to Lords, I mean, that's the place where Pakistan can dominate. For me, the issue is that your opening department, especially facing up Archer, I know Archer has been rated a lot high because of his pace, because of that extract what bounce he gets from the wicket. But if you talk about traveling outside the English conditions, he has been struggling a lot. But when you talk about the Pakistani batsmen, left-handers versus Archer, the second and third, I would say, slip is the main area where Pakistan does struggle, because we have got that habit, a ball a little bit outside the off-stamp and outswingers, we go for it, I mean, because that T20 tradition is still in our mind. For me, even BRASHNA, like she mentioned about the middle order, is the real concern, because you talk about Salman Ali Agha, he has not been consistently performing well. Rizwan has been under a lot of tremendous pressure. He looked a little bit calm in the previous test match, what we won, because he was good behind the wicket keeper. He was speaking about he was speaking regularly to Babar Azam, looked more confident, but his batting is under scrutiny. Well, he needs to perform well.
Well, I understand it's become a bit of a nightmare now to pick the playing 11. So if, let's suppose, SHAN, MASOOD, BRASHNA is completely fit, so is Saud Shakil, Abdullah Shafiq has already performed, Imam, Azan have had mixed performances. It becomes a tricky subject of who's going to be left out of this batting lineup.
Like, deserves. I just feel that if SHAN is fit enough, I would play both SHAN and Abdullah Shafiq in the top 3 of Pakistan. That leaves, one between Imam and Azan OWAIS being left out. And I think Pakistan should take a risk and go ahead with Azan OWAIS. It's like, it's done really well. And I think it's a tricky, risky call, because you cannot be 100% certain with your playing 11. We don't have such great options. But that being said, I just feel like Pakistan should be able to have that balance of, experience and youngsters in the team as well, because these players are not going to get a chance to play in England all the time, right? So I feel like Azan OWAIS has deserved that call, and it should be part of the top 3 as well. Again, it's very tricky. It depends on the match, conditions as well. It depends on the kind of wicket that England creates. So I think a lot of it, we all know how bizarre the call was to drop Mohammad Abbas in the second test, especially after the performance he had given in the first test. But somehow that did come out in Pakistan's favor, you know. So I feel like making those bold calls based on, you know, the conditions, based on the wicket that the England is going to prepare, it's going to be really key in determining which team wins. But yeah, getting the playing 11 is going to be a big challenge, and I hope that, you know, and they get it right just like they did it against West Indies in the second test.
Well, Brashna, the key of putting runs on the board is that you've got to score runs. You can't just be bogged down the entire session, and you have to take the attack occasionally to the bowlers as well. Last time in 2018, Pakistan won that test match. Sarfaraz was there, so he'll have a lot of knowledge sharing with the team as well. But as far as conditions or the track record in England goes, you rarely have a test match that is ending in a draw. So of course it's going to be a result. So maybe the best approach is to play sort of fearless cricket and put runs on the board.
Yes, and I also feel that it's not, I know, because we all want it to be results oriented and we want a result, but I feel like a draw is better than a loss, right? So in case if Pakistan at times, we often see that teams are not able to win the game. So I feel like that's the beauty of Test cricket, that then you just, if you know you cannot win the game, then you have to make sure that you at least have a draw. That's the most they can get. So while Pakistan's obviously the first priority should be to win, to go for the win, but I feel if they realize midway, they should. It's not entirely bad that they choose a draw. You know, you shouldn't be impatient. You shouldn't give away your wicket just to in order to, you know, be aggressive in your approach to get a result. So I hope that, you know, that is considered when they're playing against England. And aggressive cricket, I feel like it's those approaches of, you know, playing fast. It goes well in the T20 format. It goes well even in the ODIs. But I think in the Test cricket, as exciting as it makes the format, I just feel that, you know, the good old Test cricket is always, you know, where the players, you know, play through, you know, show a bigger temperament, you know, show more flexibility and more patience, and are able to know that, you know, they can carry the game. I think it always takes me back to that 2014 game of, you know, Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers against Australia at Perth, and I just feel like they batted the entire day keeping that wicket. And eventually the game did end up in a draw, but it was one of the most entertaining draws that I've seen, right? So that was actually a victory in a way for South Africa. And I hope that players today know that, you know, if you cannot go for a win, they are at least able to get the teams a draw.
Well, certainly, and I do believe that we're still spoiled for choices, and we've got to make these decisions as well. But a lot is happening in the world of cricket, and I think before we move on to some things that are on the wrong side of the cricket board, but at this time we must also tell you that associate members are gearing up, of course, to represent their nations as well. Cricket is becoming more diverse, and another player now joins an elite list of players to play not just for one country, but for 2 or more nations as well. And the latest one to do that is someone who has been the most capped player for domestic cricket in Australia. Didn't have that much of an international success rate, but we talk about Jose Henriquez, who now is going to be seen in European colours, because he is representing and also the skipper of the cricket team of Portugal, and that means that you know, a lot for him to look up to as far as the diversity of cricket is concerned, because he had his roots back in Portugal. Of course, he not only was there in Australia, but will be captaining Portugal in the T20 World Cup qualification bid in order to make sure that Portugal become the first European team in an associate member setup to qualify for the T20 World Cup as well. And I think it becomes a very, very special moment. In the past, we've had many players doing that as well. We all remember when Morgan initially started with Ireland, then came to England. We also remember Dirk Nannes. He played for the Netherlands and then, of course, came to Australia. We also remember Tim David played for Hong Kong, then came to Australia to play for them as well. And then, of course, a lot of other players, including Kevin Peterson, who initially started playing for England, but he had a choice to play for South Africa as well. And then, of course, I think a lot of these names that don't usually make the headlines, but also remember David Wiese, who also went on to represent Namibia as well. So Jose Henriquez, the latest one now to not only represent Australia and be the most capped player in the domestic cricket, but also now moves on to captain Portugal, which they are, I think, going to rely on a lot of experience that he carries as an all-rounder, not just as a bowler, but as an all-rounder almost, which he will carry to the World Cup, considering that he's got the most intel of T20 cricket as far as his number of games go. That being said, we come back to the subject, and now, of course, we take your focus from Test cricket to Pakistan's newly introduced one-day championship that has started as well in Multan. Awais, first look of this tournament, what do you make of it?
For how long? Because I've been part of one of the tournaments, I mean, which was played last year, the T20 tournament, and where is it? I mean, it's all over. One thing, it's good that at least you're preparing for the ODI World Cup. I mean, you have got that backup plans. But for me, how long is it? Because when you talk about your calendar year right now, this is the tournament which was actually implemented at the last moment. You have to play the National T20, you have to play the National One Day Cup, you have got the President Trophy, you have got the Qaid-e-Azam Trophy. 4 tournaments. These machines, how long will they last? I mean, that's the biggest question everyone is asking. Secondly, I know when you talk about the preparation of the tournament, you're preparing for the South Africa World Cup. Okay, for instance, there's time, you can tell that, fine, we'll prepare for that, we'll have that different kind of wickets. In such a scorching heat, I mean, it's around 45 or 43 back in Multan, and look at the faces of the players. Literally, I was actually watching the match, I just watched a little bit, and they were struggling, the fast bowlers specifically, because it had nothing in the wicket. I mean, the fast bowlers had nothing to do with that. The best part was that you could have played in Pindi.
Look, I'm going to be a bit critical over here. How is that practice for South Africa? I don't know how it is.
That's the thing I said. I mean, the biggest question for me is that when you talk about this tournament, it could have been done in Pindi. Because,
yeah, why not Karachi, Rawalpindi? Even
Pindi was best because Karachi obviously it's under construction right now. Unfortunately, not in Aptabad because I mean many people said, but there's no sitting capacity. Coming back to the tournament, I mean, Fakhar Zaman looked good today. I was happy for Dhani because quite after a long period of time, you saw him back in the competitive cricket because he had a little bit, I would say, rough patch in the LPL too. I mean, talk about Saad, he was brilliant today. Shadab Khan got 4 runs. I mean, Shaheen Shah Afridi, especially that controversy going on right now for his pace. The comments what came up from Shaheen Shah Afridi, that's the point I'm talking about, because when you talk about this player, especially whom you're eyeing for the World Cup or whom you see because he's a one-day captain. So you're eyeing him for the World Cup. So that machine, how long will it last? Because you have got many competitive tournaments coming up. So to play that competitive tournaments regularly, that requires your fitness. So how is it going to be managed? I mean, that's a real question for PCB.
Well, I think the question doesn't remain just the management of this tournament. It requires further analysis and insight into what was the purpose of having this tournament. If you really wanted to improve on the one-day format because there's a World Cup coming up, why not invest the same amount of resources to the National One-Day Cup, which already exists?
See, I mean, I'll give you 2 examples, especially when you talk about the sponsors. I remember the last T20 tournament, which was played in Rawalpindi Stadium, and I was with the team, one of the teams, I mean. I remember the Pakistan cricket, obviously, it's a strong entity. They spoke to the sponsors. They said, let's get a sponsorship to this tournament. It's one of the finest tournaments coming up. Every sponsor came for that tournament, and that was a good tournament, I would say. It gets finished, and that's it. It's a full stop. Remember before this, even in the under-19s, I would say the tournament was just once played. That's it. It's finished. That's the point I'm saying on, is it just one time or is it a proper tournament to be played?
The question, what was the need for this? That's what we're trying to understand.
That's the
Why
purpose.
were they so desperate to have another tournament?
That's the thing I'm saying on, when you have a proper National T20, National One Day Cup tournament coming up, why don't you improve that structure? For me, again, I'm telling you, I know whenever a new management comes on, they try to test some new stuff in the cricket, I would say. But why can't you test that what is already provided? National One Day tournament could have been brilliant if you could have included more finances in it, could have marketized that well, and could have been a great venue. I mean, I'm not going against Multan. Multan is a strong competitor when you talk about having crowds into the stadium. But it's scorching heat over there. It's not easy to play a one-day tournament. It starts at 3 p.m. So that's the biggest question. Who implemented this? For me,
well, you're exposing your players to injuries again.
Like I said, you have to play 4 to 5 tournaments. I mean, it's going to not going to be easy for these players. I mean, but coming back to the tournament, I mean, one thing is good that at least you'll have some bunch of players because people definitely will watch them. They'll speak about them. But how long? That's again a question. Is this a frequent tournament or is this just for one time because you're preparing for the World Cup coming up? But in the South African conditions, and you talk about dead wicket like Multan, it's the biggest question mark.
Well, I think people were trying to call Multan Johannesburg, but I don't know whether that was okay or not. But BRASHNA, what's your take on first of all, the reason why we needed a tournament separate from what we already have?
I feel it's just that maybe the board wanted to do something different this time, because if they don't even organize or plan for the event, then we are going to criticize them, saying that they did not prepare enough for the World Cup, because we can't go into a World Cup before 3 months or 6 months saying that we haven't done enough or start taking it seriously. Now, at least they've taken a air before, trying to take it a little bit seriously in their own way. I agree with all that you guys said, but I feel like there are some positives as well, because this tournament sort of gives or puts your established play, gives a chance for the selectors to put the established players against your, upcoming and new talent. And I feel like that for me is the biggest positive, because you don't always see the likes of Haris Rauf, Shadab Khan, Shaheen Afridi participating in the domestic one-day cup, So for players like Farhan Yusuf and Shamil Hussain and, Abdul Samad to be playing against the national stars, I think it's definitely good exposure for them, and also strengthens Pakistan's bench strength going into the World Cup, because I feel like Pakistan usually does so well in bilateral ODI. A good example of that would be Champions Trophy. Pakistan looked so strong going into series victories, historic series victories against South Africa and Australia. And we look like that Pakistan looks like a serious contender, but then we lose Saim Ayub and everything falls apart. So that just shows that Pakistan does not have enough bench strength. We are too dependent on a certain playing 11, on certain individual players. So that this tournament, I believe, gives the selectors to test or assess the second layer of, the talent pool that they have. And we need that. We need to have at least strong bench strength in order to make sure that we can try different combinations going into a big tournament like World Cup. And maybe, there's nothing bad in, having 2 one-day tournaments in your domestic season. The more the merrier, I would say. But yeah, I think there are pros and cons to it, but it's not entirely bad.
Well, why not have 10 of them? Why just 2? I mean, shut everything down. Just have the PSL and 10 one-day tournaments, keep on pushing the players to the limit. But right now, we update you on the latest news, visuals coming to you courtesy of PTV Sports, where the Greens have won this match by 5 wickets. They've chased the target down of 277, and a spectacular performance there as well. And the skipper, fittingly, your favorite, hitting the winning runs as well. So I'm sure these are happy images for you.
There was a meme coming up that the teams are known as Pakistan Greens, and why are they wearing yellow? I mean, so there are a lot of things going on.
Maybe that's green and we don't, understand colors.
Never
anymore.
know that, but still, like even BRASHNA just mentioned on, one thing is good that at least we'll have that bunch of players in like for the backup, I would say, for the team. But they need to be again given regular chances for the World Cup coming out. I know there would be failures, there would be even successes for you. Farhan Yusuf is one of the candidates to watch on. I mean, he's one of the brilliant guys who could bat in the middle order, because today when he was aggressive, I mean, Ali Raza, he's a very good fast bowler. He played brilliantly against Fakhar Zaman, because Fakhar Zaman today, the way he played that innings, that aggressive innings, I mean, that shows that experience what he carries. So there are players, I mean, in the youngsters specifically, who could be a pathway. But the issue is, again, after this tournament, you need to have a pathway for them in the high performance.
Well, I have another issue now. This tournament, as reports do tell us, was there to develop and gauge a side for the one-day World Cup, and also the another reason was to give confidence to our players. That's why they're having a one-day tournament. What if someone who's a fast bowler concedes runs more than 7 or 8 or 9 runs per over, doesn't get a wicket? What do they do with confidence then? Because obviously he will increase his pace, but the confidence won't be there.
I hope that fast bowler does not repeat that I'm injured and I need to leave the tournament. Unfortunately, that has happened.
Where is he going to go now?
I don't know. It will be just 3 hours drive to back home, I mean. But I know, I mean, Shaheen specifically, as already a captain, I mean, as a fast bowler, you need to look after fitness. So it will be very important how the management, because you have got all the Pakistan Cricket Board panels sitting over there. I mean, even the I would say physical fitness trainers are there. How do they manage him over here? Because like I said, it's a scorching heat. It's not going to be easy. There's nothing in this wicket for the fast bowlers. And secondly, one more thing, Ahmed Bhai, you rightly pointed out one thing about the batsman I would speak on. You say at one point that we are not playing aggressive cricket. I mean, we need someone who could set a benchmark of 180, 190 strike rate. In this kind of wickets, you can't set that. You need to have a wickets like Rawalpindi. I mean, even if it's a road wicket, you need to have that kind of a bounce in that wicket, so at least the batsman can set that benchmark over here. Unfortunately, like I said, who designed this tournament really needs to be cushioned up in the press conference.
Well, I think in this weather, you won't find those kind of pitches anywhere in Pakistan. So the timing is already off. But before we move on further, another update has reached us from the world of cricket. And this time, it is a player, POREL, who has been arrested in a case of alleged sexual assault. The wicketkeeper batter has not played any competitive cricket since the end of a franchise league in 2026. Now, this is big news because Bengal and Delhi Capitals' POREL has been arrested in Kolkata, city of India, in connection with a case involving allegation of rape and other sexual offences. POREL was arrested by the police on 11th and was brought to the High Court the same day. The case involving him had been filed on 30th of June. At the initial hearing on the 14th, the court said the advocate for the petitioner had submitted that further steps are required to be taken by the concerned police authorities to seize POREL's electronic devices lying with the accused person containing obscene photographs of the petitioner in order to protect dignity and privacy of the petitioner as well. Meanwhile, it is also concerning police authorities that they have directed to continue with their endeavour to apprehend overall the suspects involved in this as well. And also, if you talk about POREL's cricket right now, he's not played any competitive cricket since the end of the IPL season, in which he played only 4 games for Delhi Capitals. And of course, at a hearing, the court had said that it received communication from the inspector in charge that the respondent had been apprehended on the night of 11th, and of course he's now of course under arrest and scrutiny as well. So not good signs for POREL, and this case has a lot of substance. Then his cricket might very well be over. That being said, we come back to the purpose and timing of this competition. This is a new one-day format that has been introduced. It is continuing. But BRASHNA, do you also agree with the West that maybe a change in venue could have been better?
Absolutely, because like you said, if it is, in order to prepare for the World Cup, then you need to play in the conditions closest that you have at home, which you'll be likely getting in, South Africa. So I feel like if it was placed in Rawalpindi, obviously it would have been a lot better. But I have no idea why they placed it in Multan. I feel like the logistic teams and the teams organizing it could have answered better. But I feel like it's a good week-long tournament that would be very entertaining for people to watch, because I feel like people usually don't follow domestic cricket a lot, but with the star-studded lineup of having the likes of all your international stars playing in this tournament, I think it would definitely encourage the people to follow it. Finally, something other than a T20 tournament for the fans to follow. So I think that is a good way to keep that spirit alive in the country for following the games. And I feel like a lot of people and fans were missing out their favorite players in the series against West Indies and now in England. So I feel this one-day cup will be a good place for them to catch up on that. And like I said, it's also keeps the player busy, it keeps the game competitive. So it's a good thing to have, for the players as well to stay busy and, work on their game, and gives them more opportunity to test themselves. And especially for youngsters, I feel like it's a good opportunity for them to test themselves and prove their mettle. So if you see any young player doing well in this competition, I think they definitely will get noticed, and it will help them eventually, making it to the Pakistan team, especially going into the World Cup. So I feel like these competitions are more beneficial for the youngsters and for getting or strengthening the bench strength of Pakistan team. So yeah.
Become part of that structure, but even more who are vying the World Cup as well, I think will become a lot of topic of discussion as well throughout this tournament, which is a very short one. But at the end of the day, PCB is trying to prove something, so we'll just wait and see what it is. But that being said, we also give you another interesting update that has reached us from Australia this time, and that is the average age surrounding Australian players. And if you look at the squad for the series against Bangladesh, then only one individual is of 27 years of age. The other are all 30 or above, and that makes a very, very serious question on what was being done before this as well. But it's sort of another argument of ours, where in Pakistan we're handing 19-20 debuts to young 19 and 20-year-old. If you look at Australia, their average age is 33.46. Nathan Lyon, the oldest in this side, but the fact is that they're completely fine with this.
They're completely fine with it, because if you just talk about the Australian mindset, the mindset is that they grind themselves into Shield cricket. Especially when you talk the elite tournament, I would say it has never been an easy stuff to play Shield cricket for any player. They grind them, They make them one of the best, and then they get them into the Australia. And most of the Australians, I mean, they debut around 30, 29, 30,
Absolutely.
31, 33
Late
years of
20s,
age,
yes.
like late, I would say 30s even, I would say, and they're one of the fabulous players coming up. I know still there are a lot of questions because you have got many youngsters coming up. For example, Connolly, you have got many youngsters coming up who could be a part of the Australian side. When you talk about the mindset of Test cricket especially, look at how they workload manage. I mean, Stock, Hazelwood, they have been managed carefully. I mean, by Australia.
But that's the interest management stake, and you know they're not afraid to play senior players in Tests because that requires a lot of maturity. The last mature player we had was Numan Ali. He was the top wicket taker for Pakistan. He could bat well as well. We excluded him from the squad immediately. We brought in Asif Afridi. He also was given one Test match, and God knows where he is now. But the fact is, this is the kind of things we're doing in Test cricket.
There was a statement from the Australian. I guess it was the batting coach, or it was the it was the fast bowling coach, and there was a statement that we will look at the IPL schedule and we look after our schedule. Our schedule, if it's quite hectic because of fast bowlers, they really need to rest for that. We'll definitely opt for that. That's a big statement coming up.
So they're surrounding the health of their players as more important.
More important than anything. And it has, I mean, because talk about Stark, I mean, he has been fit for the Test cricket. Talk about Hazelwood, he has been fit. Pat Cummins after the injury, I mean, coming back. So they have got whole plan. I remember recently one more. A tournament was played in Australia, lifeboat tournament, I would say. For me, what was shocking to see was that 70% females participated as compared to men's cricket. So that's what they implement, the sports psychology. Remember, in the subject had been introduced. Shield cricket is one of the toughest cricket to play over there. They grind a player. I remember I played with some of the pros of the under-19 Australian team. They're quite strong. I mean, you never see them.
The PCB is searching for a psychologist, but for the women's team right now. They've not advertised the role for men's cricket. But I'm just saying. Well, this is going somewhere else. I'm not going to talk on that. But I think the concept becomes very important. Brashna, your take on the average age of this Australian squad, which is well above 33. And here onwards, we have an argument that maybe we need young blood in the team. Brashna, can you hear me now?
She didn't like your question.
Brashna, can you hear me? Well, we're trying to get this sorted. But even if you look at Bangladesh, they've got injury problems of their own. Nahid Rana not part of this series because of an injury. And I talked to some Bangladeshi journalists, and also a certain source did tell us that nature wasn't that serious, but they really want to preserve him, and the medical panel has handled him brilliantly. So I think it's a positive sign for Bangladesh.
I mean, he's a young fast bowler. He's got a lot of career to prove himself, and obviously it will hurt, I mean, not having him in that kind of conditions where you extract that bounce. I mean, I know Australian wickets have changed a lot. I mean, they're more batting friendly. You see that high scoring runs over there, but still when you play at Gaba, this kind of wickets, I mean, definitely a fast bowler would love to bowl on. But Bangladesh, I mean, the whole set of what Bangladesh Cricket Board is right now, they have really improved themselves. You talk about the under-19 structure has been brilliant. Talk about the women's cricket has been superb. A news to share on because unfortunately we haven't still done some homework on the women's league. Bangladesh has already started on. It was going to be implemented, but unfortunately because of the World Cup, it's a little bit gone, I would say a little bit after, I mean, like 2 to 3 months, the league would be played on.
And if it's successful, it will become a huge
It will definitely want. So they're investing a lot on it. I mean, talk about even the Bangladesh Cricket Board setup. I mean, they are investing a lot over there. Even they added on Mushtaq Ahmed as their coach, if you remember, for the spin bowling. They have improved the high performance center. So they have been doing a superb job, and even the youngsters coming up for Bangladesh, they're very strong T20 players. I know they a little bit struggle in the Test cricket, but beating Bangladesh in Bangladesh, Australia would definitely remember they beat them, so they won't come easy on Bangladesh.
Well, it's not going to be easy. We know about that as well. But for Bangladesh, I think this is redemption now because they missed out on the T20 World Cup. Their team will still be very much focused on that World Cup, the ODI World Cup to come in South Africa.
Definitely it hurt. I mean, if you remember, Pakistan really played a vital role in that. I mean, getting that respect back for Bangladesh. I mean, unfortunately, whatever incident happened. Not playing that World Cup, many youngsters, because that might have been one of the last World Cup for the senior players, I would say. Now definitely would be eyeing on that on the ODI World Cup coming out. I know it's a one day, it's a test series, but if you just check on the backside, I would say it's a preparation even for the one day World Cup coming up, because you test your players. I mean, are they capable to represent or not? So it's going to be very important. But For me, Australia versus Bangladesh, definitely Australia does look favourites, but Bangladesh, the way they have played cricket right now, they definitely can give a good time to Australia.
Anything can happen right now, but you know, we're in England, anything can happen. Bangladesh is in Australia, anything can happen. But that is cricket for you, and from cricket onwards, we do update you on the Pakistan hockey team, which is now there to play a World Cup in Belgium and the Netherlands. They've got all eyes set on this tournament. We've talked to players. We talked to Rana Waheed, who also said that, you know, the dream of any player is to represent their side in the World Cup. So the team will be participating in this World Cup. They've been placed in a group which also contains the teams of India, a team of Wales, England, and then Pakistan. So these four make up for the composition of this group. And Pakistan have gotten necessary practice against these teams in the Pro Hockey League. So that means that they should be very confident, and they should be termed as the favourites as far as this match is concerned. And this pool looks like to be a pool where Pakistan should be able to qualify. But the fact still remains that there are a lot of infrastructure changes that have come to Pakistan hockey, including the fact that the captain has been changed as well. Ahmad Butt has been replaced by Abu Bakr Mahmood, who comes as the skipper. Rana Waheed gets the armband of the vice captain. And also the coaching staff has been changed entirely, with foreign coaches now presenting their insights and presenting a lot of knowledge as well. A lot of data is coming in. OWAIS has been a very serious advocate of GPS vests that have now come to Pakistan hockey. So looks like that these matters are being resolved. And I think at the same time, all of us must support Pakistan team. They're participating in a World Cup for hockey, which is the biggest competition for the sport, and all of us need to root for them. Whatever their performance is, we need to make sure that they keep their head up very high. They should be very proud of themselves that they're participating and representing Pakistan in a World Cup. I think that itself is a huge, huge achievement. And if they're able to do that, because if you look at the comparison of Pakistan and other teams, and it looks to be, you know, a different game plan. But now with a lot of data analysis and a lot of research and knowledge coming from those foreign coaches, looks like that Pakistan will certainly be in a different mode once this World Cup starts in the Netherlands and Belgium. And we hope that the green shirts are able to surprise all of us and pull off a miracle performance, as they of course did in the series against Korea as well. So on that note, that's all we have time for. Of course, we have been discussing major sports with you, but I think particularly when it comes to hockey, this is one word that we'll put out from the platform of sports, you know, that when you look at various sports in Pakistan, when you look at cricket, you look at volleyball, then you see javelin, you see many sports that are flourishing, even e-sports right now. We've gotten a champion as well. You know, Zubair has been crowned champion for Taken World Cup. But the fact is, when it comes to hockey, it's our national sport. And regardless of whatever the situation has been, we will request all of you as well, whether you're on digital media, you're on social media handles, whatever you're doing, just put out a word, you know, just wish this Pakistan team best of luck for participating in the Hockey World Cup. And who knows that their confidence will probably get a major boost as well, because all of these players have dreamed of only one thing, and that is to represent their country, Pakistan, in a World Cup. And that dream now will finally become a reality for these players. That's all we have time for. Thank you very much, OWAIS, for joining us as well on the Scoreboard. From all of us here on Pakistan TV and of course the entire team of the Scoreboard, it's goodbye for now.